How many times have you been in the middle of an intimate moment and your brain suddenly decided to betray you completely? You're there, you're present, and then out of nowhere, your mind whispers, "Does my stomach look weird from this angle? Is my hair an absolute disaster right now? Can he see that thing I hate about my body?" And just like that, you are no longer in the room. You are in your head, critiquing yourself like a particularly harsh judge at a beauty competition you never signed up for. Here is what I need you to hear right now, and I need you to really let this land. He doesn't see any of that, not because he's being polite, not because he's distracted, but because the male brain during genuine intimacy enters what neuroscientists describe as a reward-saturated trance state, a neurochemical flood of dopamine and testosterone, so intense that the visual cortex literally stops processing fine detail the way it normally would. The tummy rolls you're sucking in, invisible to him. The mascara you're convinced is running, he hasn't noticed once. The lighting you've been mentally negotiating since you walked in the room, completely irrelevant to everything happening in his brain right now. What he is noticing is something entirely different, something subtler, something far more psychological than physical. And that's exactly what this video is about, the high-definition male brain. So if he's not cataloging your physical imperfections, and I promise you he genuinely isn't, what exactly is his brain doing during those moments? Because make no mistake, the male brain is absolutely not switched off. If anything, it is operating in a state of hyper-focused awareness, just not about what you think. Here is the core truth that will reframe everything you thought you understood about male psychology in intimate settings. While he is completely blind to the aesthetic details you agonize over, he is extraordinarily tuned in to your energy, your feedback, your presence, the signals your body and voice and eyes are broadcasting about whether you are genuinely here, genuinely feeling this, genuinely connected, or somewhere else entirely. His brain is running one continuous background question on a loop, even if he would never articulate it consciously. Am I doing a good job? Is she actually feeling this? Does she want me? Every sound you make, every movement of your hands, every flicker of expression on your face, all of it feeds directly into that question. He is scanning for answers constantly in real time with extraordinary sensitivity. And here's where it gets genuinely fascinating. There are 9 specific signals his nervous system is scanning for, and most women have absolutely no idea any of them exist. By the time this video ends, you will know every single one. The difference between polite and primal. Point number 1, let's start with something that is going to require a little honesty. And I say this with complete warmth and zero judgment. A significant number of women at some point in their lives have performed during intimacy rather than participated in it. Not because they're deceptive people, but because they've absorbed the idea that their job is to make him feel good, and performing enthusiasm seems like it should accomplish exactly that. Here is why that backfires in a way most women never realize. The male nervous system is extraordinarily good at detecting the difference between a polite reaction and a primal reaction. These two things feel completely different at a neurological level, both to him and to you, and no amount of convincing performance closes that gap. A polite reaction is controlled. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end that all feel managed. It arrives on cue. It sounds the way reactions are supposed to sound. And some part of his subconscious registers all of that and quietly files it under, "She's doing this for me," not because she can't help it. A primal reaction is something else entirely. It's the involuntary shudder that moves through your body before your brain has given any permission for it. It's the sharp intake of breath that happens because sensation arrived faster than self-consciousness could intercept it. It's the toe curl, the sudden tensing of your hand on his arm, the way your head drops back, not because you decided to drop it, but because your neck simply stopped holding it up. These reactions are involuntary, and that involuntary quality is precisely what makes them so profoundly powerful for him. When his touch produces a response you didn't consciously generate, it tells him something his ego and his masculinity deeply need to hear. I am actually affecting her. This is real. I am the reason her body just did that. That confirmation, that proof of his genuine impact, is more arousing to him than almost any physical act you could perform intentionally. Stop performing, start feeling, let your body tell the truth. The truth is infinitely more powerful than any performance you could give. The vulnerability of sight. Point number 2. There is a moment that happens during intimacy, usually at the peak of intensity, when many women instinctively close their eyes, turn their face away, or bury it against his shoulder. And this impulse makes complete sense from a self-protection standpoint. Being fully seen in a moment of complete vulnerability is genuinely terrifying. When your face is fully exposed in the middle of experiencing intense pleasure, you cannot control what it looks like. You cannot manage the expression. You cannot make sure you look attractive. So the reflex is to hide. Here is what he experiences when that happens, though. And this is important. When a woman consistently looks away or keeps her eyes closed throughout intimacy, his brain generates a very specific interpretation. She's somewhere else. She's in her own world. She might be thinking about someone else, something else, anything else. It is not the interpretation you intend, but it is the one his psychology naturally produces. He feels slightly disconnected from you, even while physically close to you, and that disconnection quietly dims the entire experience for him without either of you being able to name why. Now contrast that with what happens when you hold his gaze. Not a staring contest, not something performative or intense in an uncomfortable way, but a genuine, open, present look that says, I see you and I want you to see me. When you look directly at him during a moment of real pleasure, when your eyes stay open and connected while your body is responding, something extraordinary happens between your nervous systems. He feels witnessed, he feels chosen, he feels that his specific presence, his specific touch is the reason for what's happening on your face right now. And that feeling creates what I can only describe as an intimacy spike, a sudden flood of connection that amplifies every physical sensation for both of you simultaneously. Looking at him is not vulnerability, it is power. It is the most confident thing you can do in that room. Let him see you, all of you. The seen woman is the unforgettable one. The auditory feedback loop. Point number 3. Let's talk about sound, because what happens acoustically during intimacy matters far more than most women realize, and the rules here are more nuanced than anything the internet has ever told you. Start with silence. Complete, consistent silence during intimacy sends a signal that his brain interprets in one of two ways, and neither of them are good. Either she is bored enduring this rather than enjoying it, or she is so disconnected from her body that no sensation is breaking through at all. Silence feels like absence to him, even when you are physically present. He is working, he is giving, he is showing up, and the silence reads as the equivalent of presenting someone with a gift and watching them express absolutely nothing. It's deflating in a way that slowly erodes his confidence and his enthusiasm without either of you consciously tracking why things feel slightly flat. But here's where it gets equally important. The overcorrection is just as damaging. Theatrical, exaggerated, performed vocalization is something the male brain detects with startling accuracy. The sounds that originate from a decision, sounds chosen to signal pleasure rather than caused by it, have a quality that he can feel is manufactured, even if he couldn't explain technically how he knows. And manufactured sound creates the same disconnection problem as silence, just with more noise. What he actually responds to, what genuinely lights up his nervous system and tells him everything he needs to know, is the raw, unpolished, unscripted soundtrack of a woman who is genuinely lost in sensation. The small gasp when something feels unexpectedly good, the sharp exhale through parted lips, the low, almost involuntary sound that starts in your chest rather than your throat, the single word or fragment of a word that escapes before you could decide whether to say it. These sounds are not performed, they are leaked, and leaked authenticity is the most arousing sound in the world to him. Stop producing a soundtrack. Just breathe. The honest breath will always, always be enough. The active participant versus the pillow princess. Point number 4. I want to address something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough in conversations about intimacy, and I'm going to be warm but direct about it because you deserve the full truth. There is a very significant psychological difference, felt deeply by the man, between a woman who is actively present in her body during intimacy and a woman whose arms and hands are simply resting, limp, wherever gravity put them, still. When his hands are everywhere and hers are nowhere, the experience begins to feel, on a very subconscious level, like labor. He is giving and creating and investing energy, and the physical stillness of her body communicates, even if she is making all the right sounds, that she is receiving this experience rather than co-creating it. The technical term for this dynamic is pillow princess, but the more important term is this: it makes him feel alone in the room. Now consider what happens when her hands are alive, when her fingers trace the muscles of his back with genuine curiosity and hunger, when her hand grips his arm during a moment of intensity, not directed, not planned, just responsive. when her nails drag lightly across his shoulder blade because her body needed somewhere to put the sensation it was processing, when her palm presses flat against his chest as if she needs to feel his heartbeat to confirm this is real. Each of these touches sends a message directly to the part of his brain that monitors desirability. The message is simple, and it lands with extraordinary power. I want you as much as you want me. I am not here tolerating your desire. I am here burning with my own. That reciprocal hunger is one of the most profound psychological experiences a man can have during intimacy. Your hands are not accessories in this experience. They are one of the most important instruments you have. Use them. Let them wander with genuine intention. He will feel every single moment of it. The conductor of the symphony. Point number 5. Here is a piece of male biology that is both completely true and almost never discussed openly. Men are neurologically wired toward acceleration. The biological architecture of male arousal is essentially a momentum system. Once it begins building, it naturally seeks to build faster, move quicker, escalate toward resolution. This is not a character flaw. It is not selfishness. It is simply how the system is constructed. And here is what he notices, what actually registers as something remarkable and deeply attractive, when a woman gently, confidently, intentionally slows that momentum down. Most women, when they feel the pace accelerating beyond what they want, either say nothing and try to adjust silently, or they tense up in a way that communicates discomfort without context. Both of these responses create friction without connection. But there is a third option, one that is simultaneously more empowering for you and more arousing for him than either alternative. Slow him down with intention. A single whispered wait, spoken not as rejection but as savoring, with your lips close to his ear and your hand pressing softly against his chest, does something remarkable to his nervous system. It stops the acceleration. It introduces a pause. And in that pause, something builds that speed was actively preventing anticipation. Pure, aching, exquisite anticipation. He suddenly becomes hyper-aware of every point of contact between your bodies, every breath, every degree of warmth. The moment that was speeding toward resolution transforms into a moment he desperately doesn't want to end. Reframe the idea of slowing him down entirely. You are not pumping the brakes. You are not rejecting him. You are not managing him. You are conducting, you are shaping the experience into something with texture and depth and escalation rather than simply a race to a finish line. A woman who can slow a man down and make him grateful for it is a woman who understands something most people never learn, that the best experiences are the ones that are savored. He will notice, he will remember, he will thank you for it, even if not in words. The trust test, how you react to his strength. Point number 6. As intimacy deepens and genuine passion takes over, something shifts in the male body and the male psychology simultaneously. The careful, considerate, measured quality of earlier moments gives way to something more instinctive, more urgent, more physically direct. He might grip your waist with real firmness. He might move your body rather than ask it to move. He might pin your wrists or turn you over or press you against something solid, not from calculation, but because his body has moved past the point where it consults his prefrontal cortex before acting. In these moments, he is acutely, almost painfully aware of one thing, your reaction, not your words, not what you say, what your body says, because bodies don't lie in these moments, and his nervous system knows that. There are two fundamental responses he can feel, and the difference between them changes the entire experience. The first is tension, a stiffening, a pulling back, a subtle bracing that communicates, I am not sure about this. Something feels unsafe. He registers this immediately, often more quickly than you intended it, and it triggers an immediate internal pullback in him. The masculine energy recedes. He becomes careful again, self-monitoring, second-guessing. The momentum dissolves. The second response is what I would describe as melting, a physical softening into his grip, a body that yields rather than resists, a presence that communicates through every muscle. I trust you. I feel safe with you. You can be all of what you are right now. This melting is not weakness or submission in any diminishing sense. It is the most profound form of trust one person can extend to another in an intimate moment, and he feels it like an unlocking. When she melts, he is released to be fully, completely, authentically present, with no part of himself held in reserve. That full presence, that complete masculine unleashing that her trust creates, is what produces the most extraordinary intimate experiences possible. Flipping the script, the power of initiation. Point number 7. I want you to think carefully about something for a moment. Think about the invisible weight that most men carry in relationships, the near constant responsibility of being the one who initiates, the one who reaches, the one who makes the first move, and then waits to see if it lands or is deflected. Every time he initiates, he is making himself vulnerable to rejection. Every time, even in long-term relationships, even when the rejection is gentle, the accumulation of that vulnerability, of always being the one who wants first, who asks first, who reaches first, creates a psychological weight that most men never articulate but carry constantly. Now imagine what happens when she initiates, not as a technique, not as a strategic move she read about somewhere, but genuinely she sees him, she wants him, and she acts on that want without waiting for permission or prompting. She walks up behind him while he's doing something completely ordinary and wraps her arms around him from behind and presses her lips to his neck with clear, unmistakable intention. She takes his hand and leads rather than follows. She reaches across and begins unbuttoning his shirt with calm, deliberate confidence and eyes that say she has been thinking about this. The psychological impact of this on him is difficult to overstate. The weight lifts instantly. The question he carries, does she actually want me, or does she just accept my wanting her, gets answered so completely and directly that his entire nervous system responds to the answer. He feels desired, not tolerated, not accommodated, desired, wanted specifically, chosen actively, pursued with intention. That feeling validates his attractiveness, his desirability, his worth as a partner in a way that nothing else in intimacy can fully replicate. Initiation is not emasculating. It is not taking his power. It is the single greatest gift of desire you can give to the man you are with. Do it without strategy. Do it because you mean it. He will feel the difference, and he will carry the memory of it for a very long time. Meeting him at the edge. Point number 8. There is a moment in male intimate experience that is unlike any other. A threshold moment that he approaches and then crosses, beyond which he has no more voluntary control over what his body does or expresses. You know, the moment I'm describing, the point of no return, the place where his breath changes, his grip tightens, and whatever careful composure he has been maintaining simply dissolves entirely. At this specific moment, he becomes completely primal, completely unguarded. Every wall he carries in ordinary life, the competence, the composure, the self-sufficiency falls away simultaneously. He is as vulnerable as a human being can be. And in this extraordinary moment of vulnerability, he notices with acute sensitivity exactly what you do. Does she shy away from this intensity? Does her body subtly pull back as he becomes less controlled? Does something in her energy communicate a kind of discomfort with the rawness of what she's witnessing? If so, he feels it, not consciously, not resentfully, but his nervous system registers the withdrawal and incorporates it into the experience in a way that slightly severs the connection at its most profound potential moment. Or does she lean in? Does she move toward his intensity rather than away from it? Does she hold him tighter as he loses control rather than loosening her grip? Does she say something, a word, a whisper, a sound that tells him she is here, she is with him, she wants all of this? That encouragement, that presence, that willingness to witness and receive his most unguarded self, it bonds him to her at a depth that purely physical experience alone cannot reach. It creates a moment of mutual vulnerability so complete that it anchors their connection in his nervous system as something categorically different from what he has experienced elsewhere. Meet him there fully. It is the most profound thing you can offer. Point number 9, the afterglow window. Most people think the intimate experience ends at the obvious moment. It does not. What happens in the 5 minutes immediately following may actually be more relationship defining than everything that preceded it. And this is not sentiment. This is biochemistry. In the immediate aftermath of intense physical intimacy, the male brain experiences its single highest release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This neurochemical flood creates a window of profound emotional openness and vulnerability that is genuinely rare in the male psychological experience. The walls are down, the self-sufficiency is suspended. He is soft, open, present, and deeply receptive to connection in a way that his ordinary daily state simply doesn't permit. What you do in this window either anchors that connection or severs it instantly. If she reaches for her phone, the message his nervous system receives is clear and immediate. The experience is over. It was a task now completed. She has moved on. The oxytocin flood finds nowhere to land, and the bonding opportunity evaporates. If she gets up immediately for water, for the bathroom, for anything that feels purposeful and task-oriented, the same severance occurs. The window closes. But if she lays her head on his chest and breathes slowly and lets the silence be comfortable and warm and shared, something anchors her presence in that specific window, tells his nervous system that this was not a transaction. It was a connection, that she values the space between them, not just when it's physically charged, but when it's quiet and ordinary and simply close. He notices this more than you will ever fully know. Stay, breathe, let the moment finish itself. 5 minutes of presence here does more for your bond than hours of effort anywhere else. Here's a bonus for you: the glitch in the matrix. Real intimacy, actual genuine human intimacy, is not a film production. Bodies are wonderfully, hilariously imperfect in motion. Things slip, limbs fall asleep at exactly the wrong moment. Joints make sounds with no warning. Positions that looked straightforward require a degree of athletic coordination that nobody mentioned. And yes, bodies make surprising noises that nobody planned for and nobody can explain with any dignity whatsoever. Here is what he notices in these moments. Not the awkwardness itself, because awkwardness is simply physics doing its thing, but how you respond to it. If she freezes in mortification, if she gets angry at her own body, if the embarrassment shuts the entire energy of the room down and wraps a layer of self-consciousness around everything that follows, he feels that shut down and re-entering the warmth and openness of genuine connection after it is genuinely difficult for both of you. But if she laughs a real laugh, a surprised laugh, and oh my God, did that just happen laugh, something remarkable occurs, the room immediately becomes the safest place in the world. Her laughter communicates supreme confidence, total ease with her own body, and the generous gift of permission. It's okay to be imperfect here. We are both just human. A woman who can laugh during intimacy is a woman who is completely at home in herself. He finds this irresistible. The glitch becomes a moment of genuine closeness rather than a reason to disconnect. Here is what I want you to carry with you from everything we've covered today. He is not in that room cataloging your imperfections. He is not comparing you. He is not calculating. He is feeling, and what he is feeling for, with everything his nervous system has, is the answer to one simple question: is she really here with me? Your passion is his mirror. Your authentic reactions are his validation. Your willingness to be seen, to be heard, to initiate, to slow down, to meet him at his most vulnerable, to stay in the quiet afterward, these are the things that make him feel desired, trusted, and genuinely connected to you. Not your body's geometry, not your performance, your presence. You are already enough, more than enough, and now you know exactly how to let him feel that. Which of these 9 points surprised you the most? Was there something here that completely changed how you understand what he's actually experiencing? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and your perspective genuinely shapes the content I create for you. And if this gave you something real today, subscribe and stay close, because we are going so much deeper into relationship psychology together. The best conversations are just beginning.